Both Jonathan Gannon and Monti Ossenfort met with the media yesterday to provide a little insight as to what the draft strategy is heading into the 2025 NFL Draft. Did Monti Ossenfort provide us who they're going to choose with the 16th overall pick, or are they favoring potentially trading back? Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. But on this video today, we're going to be talking about the big takeaways that I had between Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon's presser yesterday. This is draft strategy and heading into the 2025 NFL draft. And honestly, I do have a level of excitement right now because when we are going to be dropping this video, we are 7 days away from the start of the 2025 NFL draft. But I have a level of excitement, right? I have confidence that this general manager and head coach knows exactly what they're doing. And I truly believe that they got all these scenarios lined up that when the pick is getting close, they know exactly the 3 or 4 guys that they want to choose, or if it's only 1 or 2 guys, or then they have a different alternate, right? Different routes. So I'm really excited about how Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon has taken over and automatically just changed things, right? Like heading into prior years, and I'm not talking about during the Monti Ossenfort years, but the prior regime, I had a level of nervousness of how my general manager is going to with this, right? And I don't have that with Monti Ossenfort. Is that because we're just heading into his year 3? Maybe, but he has receipts as to him bringing in talented players, whether it's rounds 1 through 7, that they're big focal points in the Arizona Cardinals, whether it was in 2023 or 2024. And obviously, heading to 2025, I'm excited to see who he's going to be bringing in. I'm just really overall excited. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the big takeaways here for Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon's presser, talking about the 2025 NFL draft strategy and how he is, treating the top 30 visits. And at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, every single team, all 32 teams in the NFL use these top 30 visits differently, right? Whether it's because, they want to use, smoke screens, or whether they want to bring in a guy because they truly like him, or whether they just want to bring somebody in to, bring him in, or whether they don't want to use them at all. Because believe it or not, there's some teams that do not use a top 30 visits. But let's talk about how Monti Ossenfort and this regime uses their top 30 visits, and let's dive right into it.
It's really players that, for whatever reason, we want to get more exposure to. So it could be guys that maybe weren't at an all-star game, that we didn't get a chance to interview. Maybe it was guys that the only time we talked to them was at the combine, and the combine's an 18-minute conversation. There could be something that Drew in the training room wanted to see somebody a little bit more on. And maybe it's just as simple as it's a guy that we want to get a better feel for the person. And so, when we have them in our building for 7-8 hours, like we get a lot of touch points. A lot of different people get to sit down with these guys. And, by the end of the day, we feel like we have a pretty good feel on who the person is. And that's our goal by the end of the day.
And man, that's it's smart. Honestly, at the end of the day, I mean, what he said is exactly the way that I love it. That's what I would do if I was a general manager. Like you're trying to get all the information you possibly can within those 7 and 8 hours. Because if you think about it, he said it himself during the combine. You can meet with these guys, but it's 18 minutes. How do you truly know somebody in 18 minutes, right? Monti Ossenfort and this regime is looking for very specific guys. You can come out of college with the best attributes, right? With the best statistics in the world, right? But if you're not a guy that's a team guy, Monti Ossenfort and this regime doesn't want to bring you in here, right? Because he wants to get a guy that is going to be putting the team first over anything, right? Like once a team succeeds, you succeed, right? At the end of the day. So I absolutely love it. I love the way this Arizona Cardinals regime is treating these top 30 visits, because it's homework. It's more deep dives as to who this person is outside of the player, outside the statistics that you're seeing, in the college statistics and what they've done. So I absolutely love it. I love the idea that we're putting in more opinions out there, because he mentioned himself, maybe even, Drew Petzing, right? Maybe another coach out there wants to get their opinion in the matter, and everything is weighed. And that's absolutely amazing. Like, I feel like the last regime was basically very, very, it almost kind of felt like the last regime treated the draft like, oh, they always try to find that diamond in the rough, or they always try to felt like, or they always try to play it like they were the smartest guy in the room, right? And honestly, Monti Ossenfort in this regime, eh, I just have all the confidence in the world that they're going to pick the right guy. So let's continue with the draft strategy, and continue with the top 30 visits as well, because somebody ended up asking them about what's the draft strategy, right? And this is exactly what Monty had to say.
Yeah, Josh, I don't like. I would say this. I would say, I see reports, and we're meeting with this player, we're talking to this guy, and quite frankly, I don't know where sometimes these things are coming from, and so, so like I don't know how much to really put into. We track that stuff, and so, but like if I look at a report and says, Team X is met, like honestly, I don't know if I can trust that. So, I don't know how much there truly is to sending up smoke screens and that. Maybe sometimes that some teams do that. It's not something that we've really been involved with. But there's a lot of reports out there about a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, reports are a dime a dozen these days, right? And I know there's a lot of people that love to track the idea that who the Arizona Cardinals meet with in the top 30 visits. It's probably most likely going to be one of those guys that they pick with the 16th overall pick. And that's probably going to be the case. Like, that means that they did a lot more homework on them to players that they didn't meet with in the top 30 visits. So there is some truth as to knowing who the Cardinals met with, because we all want to know, right? Weeks and months before. Like, we always want to be the smartest person in the room. Like, let's be real. We always want to predict what the Cardinals are going to do. Now, it's so hard to predict right now in this year in 2025, because there's so many things that are happening between picks 1 through 15. There's so many things that are, you know, not in the control of the Arizona Cardinals. Like Monti Ossenfort does not know who is going to be there at 16. Like, if he had a magic 8 ball, he would love that. But we don't know. There's 15 different opinions, 15 different picks, 15 different ways of things can go. People can trade up, people can trade out. Like, so many things can completely ruin a draft board. So I love the idea that these top 30 visits are being used as homework. But at the end of the day, like, right, you're going to see a lot of reports out there. Just be very, very cognizant as to, don't put a lot of weight in it. Like, it's important to know who the Cardinals met with, but at the end of the day, you don't know. Nobody's going to know what happens picks 1 through 15 at the end of the day. So, yeah, I agree. Let's talk about draft needs. Somebody ended up asking Monti Ossenfort about draft needs, how they're going to be able to maneuver that, because the way that the Cardinals have done these top 30 visits is that they have met with a lot of defensive linemen, like a lot of them. Like, it's favored probably like 75, 80% compared to offensive people, right? So this is the way that he ended up responding to that pertaining to draft needs, right? Because we went very defensive heavy in free agency. So does that mean we go offensive side of the ball? But let's see what Monty Ossenfort had to say.
I learned a long time ago that, what is perceived as a need or maybe not as a need one year, and fast forward 3, 4, 5 months later or a year later, all of a sudden it is a need. And so, injuries happen in this game, player movement that happens from year to year. So, I think no matter where it is, if we can add an impact player and we can add that checks boxes for us both on and off the field, it's never going to be a bad pick. So, regardless of who we added, who we didn't add, we're just looking for good players and good people. And if we do that, we're going to be all right.
And see, and that's the crazy thing, because he said it like 3, 4, 5, and he said months. He didn't say years, 3, 4, 5 months, because this is such a fast paced game and a physical game that you never know. Like, we could have done all these different things during an off season, but injuries happen. Like, this is such a physical game that injuries happen. It's completely, not in the hands of the front office. Like, they felt like they put a need in there, but this is the exact reason why I'm excited that we're going to go best player available, or at least I hope best player available is what the Cardinals are going to do in this specific 2025 NFL draft. Now, man, this is it's smart, man. It's a smart thing, because you never know if you bring in an impactful player and he finally gets his time. Now, it might take a little bit, because we do got a lot of depth in the defensive line. Because I said this once and I'll say it again, like, the most improved position from 2024 to 2025 is that defensive line. They've done a lot to try to make that defensive line so much better. And it's obvious that Monti Ossenfort came in saying, I need to bolster up that defensive line because that was a big weak point in our defense in 2024. So I love it, man. Best player available is going to be the way to go. I still hope it's going to be a defensive lineman, but at the end of the day, if the Cardinals go any which direction, that's who they have on their board, and I'm going to be 110% on board with it. So we'll see. We'll see exactly what happens. Now, another question that was asked was about trading back, because we all kind of have the thought process, and including myself as well, that I feel like Monti Ossenfort loves draft picks. Like every single time we've seen a draft from Monti Ossenfort or under Monti Ossenfort's regime, there was some sort of trade back, right? So it's a fair question as to, hey, is your mind process like I want more picks? Because right now we have 6 picks in the NFL draft this year. So it's a good question, right? Do you want to trade back? Is that something that you guys are thinking about? And this is what Monti Ossenfort had to say.
Craig, no, I've never gone into a draft saying I want to trade back, I want to trade up. Like, I think it truly is a matter of opportunity. So, we'll see what happens. And I think it just comes down to weighing offers if we get offers, and weighing that versus, hey, if we're gonna be ready to pick a player every time our number's called, and then it's a gamble. Like if you get a call and there's an offer to move back, then you got to weigh that. Hey, we may lose out on the player that we want here. Is it worth it? Hey, like what's the cost of jumping up to go get a guy? So, I've never gone into these last 2 drafts. We've never gone in saying, hey, we gotta move back here. We want more picks. Like it's really we take it as it comes, and we'll see what presents itself next weekend.
Like we mentioned before, guys, that you cannot predict, and even these general managers that are in these positions, that we all got to keep in mind they're human too, right? Like there's so many different things, so many different factors that are out of their control. We don't know what's going to happen, right? General managers are the same as us fans or as other people out there, but obviously they're privileged as they get to work in the NFL and make these top decisions, and they deserve it, right? Their whole career was dedicated to the NFL, so they do got a lot more knowledge, but they're in the same situation that kind of we are, right? Like we don't know what's going to happen in picks 1 through 15. So the idea that he also was asked, like, is there any calls at the current spot that we are at 16? He said, no, there's no calls, but that's not unheard of, right? We also heard this last year as well. Like, we haven't heard anything yet, but, the phone's always going to be open. So the idea that it's an option is always going to be there, but he's not coming into the draft saying, yeah, we need more picks, man. We need more picks. That's not how they're going to treat this. They're going to treat this as, how's the board going to fall? What's going to happen picks 1 through 15? And if it makes sense, it makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense. So the Cardinals right now with 6 picks, let's see what happens, and anything can be put on the table. But like I said, let me reemphasize here how much of a sigh of relief that I have heading into the 2025 NFL Draft compared to the last regime. And I got all the confidence in the world that Monti Ossenfort is going to cook something up really, really good. It's going to be really, really good. We're going to bring some really good pieces in, and it's going to be so much better since 2024. And we were so close to being a playoff team. We were in the top of the division for a little bit, and of course, we all knew how that ended up ending. But with the new pieces that we added this offseason, with this draft coming our way, I'm just hoping that is going to be enough for us to obviously make that next step for the Arizona Cardinals organization. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are your big takeaways here from Monti Ossenfort and the things that he said? Let me know here in the comments below. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cardinals.